here. Go live. All right, we are going live. All right, everybody. Hello, the Real Martian here. I'm joined with my good friend Bart Womack. Hello, Bart. How you doing?
Hey, Jeff. Good to talk to you as always.
How's the weather down in Houston? Are we at the doorstep of hell yet, or is it normal?
Yeah, you know that scene from Terminator 2 where she's like on the fence?
Oh, when the nuclear bomb goes off and she's like, ah!
Yeah. We're
It's like
about there. Yeah, it feels personal. You know, it really feels like the sun is upset with us and wants to hurt us. That's really kind of the feeling you get when you walk, because you'll look out the window and you'll say to yourself, wow, it looks so pretty outside because it's blue skies and rolling clouds, and then you walk outside and it's like you can feel the sun pressing you like that.
It's just not fair. Not fair at all. Yeah, the weather up here has been hot as well. Nowhere close to what you go through, but it's just been so warm, and it just sucks the energy right out of you. We're out there working, Eli and I are out there working, and it just zaps you. So today we actually started working early. We got out there like 7 a.m. and we're starting to do work so that we can be done before the sun gets crazy, because we have AC in the shop, thank God, but we don't have or we have AC in the office out there, but not in the rest of the shop. So when we go out to do work, it's just like coated in sweat the whole time, and that's no fun. So we got to early jump on it today. Hey, and our topics, we're going to go over what we got done last week. I have something exciting to share with you. You ready? It's totally exciting. Don't look too excited, right? Okay, all right. The exciting news is the version 1 towers are completely upgraded. We only have one tower left. It's down in Houston, and our new engineer, Frank, is going to be upgrading that for you. But the 3 towers that I have up here, which is single deck, the tall deck, and the potato deck, have all been upgraded, which means they got all the brand new guts from the version 2.2s that we have. They're so much quieter. They run better. They got the new software on them. And I'm integrating webcams onto them so that we can actually start doing photo views of the plants from remote locations, as well as time-lapse imagery. And we're going to start, it won't be this go round, but in the next few months, we'll actually start doing machine learning or machine vision, where we actually start to train the system to look for things like pest or leaves that aren't doing so well, plant health issues. We'll actually start doing some machine learning and actually teaching the AI that we're going to give birth to how to look for these things. So I'm super excited about that. What do you have for us this week?
Well, I think the most exciting thing is we finished the NASA Deep Space Food Challenge proposal.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. No. And I mean, just what an amazing team we have, Jeff. Like how far we've come from you and I having to do everything. And when I say you and I actually mean you having to do everything.
Shoulders are broad.
Yeah. Atlas.
Yeah. My shoulders are broad and my butt is dragging.
And I'm just here. Being able to hand over projects like that to
Oh, go ahead.
Oh man, yeah. It's like Max Headroom. You went into like serious slow-mo there.
Uh-oh. Yeah, probably just the internet here. Go ahead though. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying, having Blaine on board and having, such competent people on our team making it happen, so that you and I can focus on the other tasks that need to happen for the company to move forward. Because there's no way that you and I would have been able to break from everything we're doing to give the attention that proposal deserved. And Blaine really did it, and he knocked it out of the park. And then just seeing you and him interact, and our professors at A&M coming in and, contributing as well. It's humbling. It's humbling when you sit back and you're like, wow, I am really surrounded by super intelligent, super motivated people that are pushing the boundaries of the future of food. I mean, what else is there to say? We really have, you're in contact with Dr. Raymond Wheeler. the inventor of a lot of the technology that we use. So it's just like the brain trust around us of people, competent people, just continues to grow.
Yeah, it's neat seeing it all come together, being a hell of the relationships that we have. And then I don't know if we've told everybody, but Eden actually has 7 employees now. So we've gone from garage to a team of 7. And the journey, I was sharing it with somebody, Bart, the journey of an entrepreneur is almost exactly like the books, where they talk about the highs, the lows, and everything in between. So it's cool seeing the team come together, seeing them gel, and being able to lead through some of these things, like getting the NASA Deep Space Food Challenge all submitted. It was cool hitting the submit button on our first. It's actually our second proposal that we put in, but I consider it the first real proposal that we've done. It's a government proposal. It's right up our alley. It's something that we should do fairly well in. If not, we'll have some good things to learn from it, but I'd expect us to do well in it. So I'm excited because what we're doing is really kind of based. I mean, it's right up the alley of the NASA Deep Space Food Challenge. So it's going to be cool to see what happens there. So lots of good stuff happening at Eden. Kind of trying to keep this down to about a 30-minute live stream for y'all. We know that you're all really, really busy out there. Everybody has a lot of stuff going on, especially these days, Lord knows. So we have a topic. Bart, I think you have the topic today. Do you want to share with us what you have?
Yeah, I've been sharing it a lot in the company group chat, and it's this research that really seems to be at the forefront of everyone's minds now, and it's always fascinating to me when there's a trend, when there's something, if you go on my LinkedIn, I've dubbed myself a futurist, someone that's interested in the trajectory of technology into the future and what is it going to mean for life. I mean,
And you mean good
this is
technology or like the bad technology, like the
both,
dark side or
both,
the good
both.
side?
I've been fascinated with this since I was 18 years old. The first time I ever got on the internet, I went and started reading congressional reports in 1999 about nanotechnology. And
That's
ever
scary
since
stuff.
then,
That's
yeah, and
scary
ever
stuff.
since then, oh, I mean, oh my gosh, this paper, the applications back then, it was a congressional study that had been put out in 1997, 98 about the implications for society for nanotechnology and what it could do in the future. And I mean, it was everything you could ever imagine from science fiction.
Yeah, good
Health
and bad.
extension. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, so many health applications, so many weapons applications, so many materials applications that could totally revolutionize society in good and bad ways.
Yeah.
And so I was hooked from that time onward. I've always followed technology. I've always, been looking at the trends of technology, reading, and a lot of it's the best place to go is the academic white papers. You read the academic white papers and you're able to plug into things 10, 20, 30 years before they're going to hit the mainstream. Because the reality is that's how long it takes for a lot of technology to filter out of the lab and into mainstream society. But that wasn't what I totally diverged. What I was going to talk about is this article that keeps getting written. I saw one by Vice. And it's this report that MIT did back in the 70s talking about how civilization would end around 2050 because unprecedented growth and unchecked growth would cause a system-wide collapse because of lack of resources. And
You chose a really, really, really positive article there, Bart.
yeah, yeah. Well, no, it's not. That's not a positive. That's not. You're right. It's not a positive article. I think we have positive solutions. Is humans have the amazing ability to adapt to situations. But one of the quotes that I've always used in my speeches and something I learned in college biology was this idea of that there's in biology there's a term named delta, which is an organism will not change until the pain of change becomes less than the pain of staying the same. And unfortunately, that's one of the governing principles of human society as well. So, and as I said last week, a lot of times people are like, oh, you're so negative. And it's like, it's not negative to point out that your house is on fire. All right. What's negative is to cover your head in the sand and say that your house isn't on fire. So there are problems. What's fascinating to me is having seen, that research about MIT talking about this 10
I'm
years
gonna pull
ago.
that up real fast here, just
Sure,
to
sure.
show folks. I just found a few of them here doing a search. So if you do a search for MIT civilization, well, if you spell it right, it probably even work better. But there are the articles here. Back in 1972 is when they made the prediction. So anyway, I just wanted to show that to the viewers so they have that. Over, back to you.
Yeah, totally. No, thanks, Jeff. And now, there's even a new scientist that took the same model and plugged it all with current data into the supercomputers. And instead of it being 2050, now the collapse date is 2040. Actually, we're accelerating towards it.
That's just a
So,
lot of really good news.
well, the world, it's not that I don't think that things are going to collapse. I don't think this is the end. I think that human ingenuity is and the human desire to live is a pretty powerful force in creation, and that we have this amazing gift from God called the imagination, which can be used negatively to envision the worst scenarios possible, or it can be used to come up with amazing solutions to those
We like
problems.
solutions. We
Um,
like solutions.
Exactly. I mean, I think that's everything that we're about. And I mean, and you saw all this data too. This is the exact same stuff you were looking at that led you to your first conclusions. Um, so, but what I find fascinating now is that as we approach that point, that the awareness within the group consciousness, this information is rising to the top. What I've always postulated is that humanity is a group organism, and that we have a kind of a group consciousness, that 100 monkey syndrome. The idea that once an idea becomes prevalent enough in society, it goes mainstream. And I think we're getting closer and closer to that exponential point where the thinking that you and I have been operating on for years, which was we have to have real solutions to these problems, and those real solutions are decentralized, autonomous families and communities, that those kind of network can create the cushion in society that can absorb these kind of impacts that we're talking about dealing with slowdown in the world financial system, the world trade system, which is the resource mismanagement that all of these articles are referencing. All of these articles are referencing is the fact what you and I've talked about is the just-in-time delivery system, the World Trade Network system that's been developed for 11,000 years, that allows you and me to eat better than the Roman and Chinese emperors. That system is over-optimized, and it's like a race car, and it's running out of road. And when it runs out of road, that race car is going to fly right off a cliff. And that's what literally these MIT models are talking about, is that the system won't change. And because the system won't change and the nature of how it's doing its resource management, it will hit that terminal point and fall apart. Now, what we're doing at Eden and what Jeff's doing is literally when that car flies off the cliff, wings and jets are going to pop out and it's just going to fly off into the future. And that's the positive future. That's the inventive, dynamic human spirit, imaginative future that can take a crisis and turn it into an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, I think the stuff that we're seeing, we have the
Are you
MIT.
contemplating, or did the internet freeze?
I hope the internet is still going. I see it happening on my side here. I see we're getting some comments in the chat. Thank you everybody for joining us. We do have super chats turned on, but back to the thing that Bart is talking about. Um, as a Christian, as I read the Bible and I look at the things around me, I definitely see trends, to say the least. I see trends, and the stuff that MIT has, it's interesting. Trends are all kind of converging. A point of convergence is in the future for us, and who knows what that's going to look like exactly, when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen. I have no idea. I have some basic instructions before leaving Earth that let me know some things about what's going on. But when I look at the MIT article and look at others like it, it's easy to go to the negative. Honestly, it's really easy to get to the negative and we're like, well, this all sucks. This is really bad. But I think what we've been doing in Eden and through the Real Martian channel is trying to give people hope. It's like, yeah, there's bad stuff out there. And I think part of the problem that I see that really irritates me in the world today is nobody wants to talk about bad things. Nobody wants to talk about bad news. Like, if you bring me bad news, just shut up. I don't want to hear about it. But the reality is we need to be real. We need to not be an optimist or pessimist. We need to be a realist. What is And there's values to both of those other things, but I'm not trying to say that people who are optimists are bad or people who are pessimists are bad. It's just right now what we need is to be real. Okay, don't color code it with roses and don't make it sound, sky is falling. What is really going on? The reality is that there's political upheaval, there's global events that are occurring um, environmentally, and who knows? Is it the thing in today's world? Excuse me. We're so polarized. It's like one side is saying we're going to freeze, the other side is saying we're going to burn up. Like there is absolutely no consensus. And there's no room for debate, healthy debate. So when I look at these things like MIT and everything else, and what we're doing at Eden is let's give people some hope by being real. Let's say, as you said, the house is on fire. There's a problem. Hey, how about we put out the house that's on fire? Maybe we'll do some reconstruction, some renovation, and maybe we'll make it better than when we started. I think those are definitely things that we should be considerate of. And I think the technology that we're working on at Eden and the solutions is going to help people with things like the article. Sorry, everybody, by the way, I was trying to set up the screen so people who are coming into the webcast can see here, that we're talking about this one article that's pulled up on the screen. So I'll drop it here in a little bit so it's not distracting you, but I apologize for all the cascading windows that were there. So anyway, I think what we're doing really does deliver hope, and it delivers independence. I know. What do you think?
Well, I mean, in Japanese calligraphy, the symbol for danger is also the symbol for opportunity. They're the same. It's literally the same symbol. So, it's that the world's going to change, and we can either be a force for positive change, and the only way we can be a force for positive change is we have to have hope and commitment, and we have to just, George Washington said it best: duty is ours, providence belongs to God.
Sure.
Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But I know where I'm taking a stand. I'm taking a stand on human freedom. I'm taking a stand on human opportunity. I'm taking a stand on human empowerment. I spent many, many years before I faceted on that farming was the core and was the answer. My whole adult life, I've been, concerned with human freedom since I was in high school. To me, it's always been the most important thing. And I've gone a lot of different routes trying to encourage it and trying to be a part of making the world a more free place because I wanted to be free. But at the end of the day, the greatest freedom comes from the ability to take care of yourself and for communities to be able to empower themselves.
Yep.
So that was when I really fascinated. I said it's food, water, and power. You give people the capability of creating their own food, water, and power. No one's going to oppress them. No one's going to take them away because they can take care of themselves. And
Exactly.
so it's like,
If sorry to interrupt, but if people
no, no,
are
please.
if people are given the ability and skills or technology to be able to do these things, it creates freedom in their lives. In freedom, I think, give people hope. Like, I don't feel good. I'm kind of claustrophobic. In fact, when I was in the fire department a long time ago, I don't know if I ever told you this story, but you join the fire department, you have to do search and rescue, which is dark room, on fire, no lights, filled with smoke, take face mask off, you die, and you get this very claustrophobic feeling and you have to crawl through small spaces. So I was 16 when I joined the fire department, and I actually ended up I was working for a lady where she had a horse farm and a horse ranch, excuse me. The ranchers will get mad at me if I get that one wrong. Uh, and I had to clean the stalls, and she had this huge barn about 200 feet long, and they had the kids, her grandkids, had made this hay fort up there. And uh, one side you crawl in, it's just enough space for a little kid to get through, not a guy. And then you have to go in darkness. And I was like, I am going to push myself to go through that. I'm going to push myself to make it through. I made it. It took me like 10, 15 tries just getting in. Then I'd freak out and I had to back out. And then finally, I just got to the point where it's like, okay, you just have to calm down, Jeff. Like one little step at a time, little inch here, little inch here. It's darkness. You can't see anything. There is no light, and you're just feeling. And I remember going through, and it kind of opened up into a big room, and I couldn't see anything. and you're under hay, so like if it falls on you, like if something goes wrong, like you're done. It's in hindsight, it probably wasn't a good idea, but so I'm crawling through this thing, and I finally made it through, and it's just breaking through that fear and giving yourself the ability to overcome the challenges that are around you by not letting fear control you. And in today's world, uh, everyone, regardless of your political leanings, everybody has actually weaponized fear. On
Yeah.
one side, it's,
Fear
hey,
of the other. Fear of the other. It's
you know,
it's it's the it's if we could just get rid of them, whoever they are, whether it's the liberals or the conservatives or this group or that group, when all the people in all of those, and that they're trying to make the world a better place, and the other is the one stopping them from making it happen. Which again is why I love solutions like this, because wherever you fall on the political spectrum, we can all agree that we want to empower communities and families to be able to take care of themselves. If you empower communities to create their own food, water, and power, those communities, those families can lift themselves up. They can take care of themselves. They don't need outside forces to come in and take care of them. That's real empowerment. That's real equity. You want to create real equity in the world, you empower families, you empower communities. You don't create
absolutely.
giant systems to go and take care of them, because those systems will always end up abusing them.
I totally agree, and that's where I was going. Is like if you can lift the fear off of people by giving them freedom, and independence, saying, here is the ability for you to do these things. You don't have to be afraid of where your food's going to come from. This is how you do it. This is how you create energy. Then it opens up a whole better world for everybody. And as the quality of life goes up for people, they like it and they don't want to like go back to shooting each other or, you know, all the stuff we've devolved into essentially in the last year. So I think what we're doing is definitely a hopeful thing. And focusing on that food independence, food and energy independence, and the community. When you and I came up with that mission statement, it it's about community. It's about people being together, and even the lone wolves out there. Eventually, you have to be with someone. Uh,
Or you just end up on a hill alone, as the zombie hordes are slowly surrounding you.
yeah,
I mean, and that's look, and I want to go on record here, and there's a lot of things I'm saying in these podcasts that I'm saying for the future. Is that people need to look back at maybe there won't even be that many, but that there were those that spoke out, that there were those that had a different solution and offered that solution and proffered that solution. Because guys, everyone out there, right now, the 100 or so people that are listening and watching us live, this is the future. There is no going around this. This is the conflict of our time. We will all individually and as a group make a choice of whether we want to live free or live being controlled by the government, by Walmart, by Facebook, by Amazon. It will either be a world controlled by the few, and they'll wrap themselves in all the causes and tell you it's all for your own good, and they love you of all of your power. And with each new crises, with each new problem, they will take more and more power, always saying that they are the ones that can offer the solution of our salvation. When what Jeff and I are saying is that is absolutely false. All of history shows that that is absolutely false. And that if we want to live in a free society, if you want to live in a free future, if you want your children and your grandchildren to grow up in a free world, that the choice must be made now, and that we have to take back our power, and that this has to become a clarion call that goes out to everyone you know. And it has to be a message that's delivered to the entire public that now is the moment. And that's everything that we're building out at Eden right now with the Feed the Future program, which here in Houston, Jeff, I am telling you, when we have the new website finished and it's up and running, when everything is ready to go, I'm going to launch a promo campaign in the city of Houston that you will not be able to drive down a major highway or road or go into a farmer's market or gardening supply without seeing the Feed the Future program. And it's going to say, save the world, feed the future. Save your family, feed the future. And then a link to our website. I'm going to put stickers. I'm going to have posters. It's going to be everywhere in this city.
That's
And
awesome.
I'm going to put those materials out so that in your own community, do you remember driving around? I think probably 20 years ago, there was always those like that mean face that said obey. There was
Yeah.
a real famous street artist named Shepard Farley that created that. It was kind of a take on Big Brother, and it was just this mean face that said obey. And it was his whole thing about, resisting oppression, resisting conformity, resisting, just not going along with whatever. And it was kind of the first cultural meme put out on a wide scale, ground level, grassroots level. That's what we're going to do. We're going to give the materials to the public so that if you want to be starting a Feed the Future program in your own city and raising awareness of the need, whether it's our technologies or getting together just community groups and networking community groups together to start your own freedom farms, to start your own victory gardens in your front yard. There is so much how-to on YouTube out in the world. Maybe our solutions aren't all the best solutions. I don't care. I obviously want you to use our stuff, but you don't have to. But people making this choice is what everything comes down to now. I know you've dedicated your life. I've dedicated my life to giving people the tools, the knowledge, the power. And we are really about to execute another phase here where we're going to be able to take that to the next level.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think when we get these towers going, I think, this journey that God has brought us on, where, we were separate, we're brought together, we were doing HAB, doing LifePod, then we were doing HAB 2, then we were doing LifePod 2, then we were, through a sequence of events that forced us to pivot, kind of, my in the last stream we did, I titled it, the lean startup. We're doing these things just like what happens in the lean startup. And one of the things we did was pivot. We've actually pivoted, I think, 3 times right now. We've pivoted from the full up hab, which got fully designed, and we were at, the doorstep of building, and then all the patent or all the permitting and everything we had to go through, and we just didn't have enough runway for that. So we pivoted to the mobile version. It cost less, no permits required. And then COVID hit, and we pivoted again because COVID dried up everything, and we got to what
It's
was
like a
it?
ballet. It's like we're literally like a ballerina as bombs are going off
Yeah,
around us.
I'm a football guy, so it's probably like running down the field with like 5 linebackers coming at you. And they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. And so then we got down to what was it? It was grow walls because they were ahead in design, grow towers, and then the app. And then because the grow towers, when the first one was built, the ones that I just got done upgrading, they came out so well. We did a product demonstration to the investors that we have, and everybody's like, "Hey, hey, this is good." So we pivoted again, and like, okay, this is our first product.
That was a big moment. That was a really big moment for us.
That
Like
was.
like coming there and struggling. I mean, because you think about it, it was like a year and a half, 2 years of you and I, trying to get LifePod together, having to struggle to do that. And it really, LifePod and HAB is our babies, and they're gonna happen. But when we had the tower and I saw that, I was like, I knew that we were on the right path, and I knew that we had something real then. I know we're running out of time, Jeff, and you wanted to keep it short today, but I did want to. There was one other thing. We had one of our brilliant new hires, an engineer in here, and one of our founders in here this morning. They were able to install the new metal brackets.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah,
we're
those look
yeah.
good.
Oh my God, they're so sexy and they're so awesome. And one of the things that they were talking about too, and this is a little bit of peek of hopefully what's coming in the future. We're trying to figure it out, but if it can be pulled off, what's going to be really cool is the tower will be like an accordion and be able to just be pressed down and be pulled up. Now that might not be in the next version. That might
That
not be
is
in the next
that is in the future.
two
See,
versions.
Bart's always he's
Yeah.
trying to leverage me, guys. He's trying to get me to like, okay, now that he said it in the public, I have to go do it. I told him, I said, no, that's like version 3, and we're on version 2.2
Yeah,
right now.
no. Yeah, full disclosure. The only reason the company exists and we haven't crashed and burned is because every time I start to put the pedal to the metal, Jeff Jeff eases us back a little bit before the engine explodes. But
Yeah.
the thing is we are always figuring out how to make these better, more efficient, and it's super exciting stuff. One day it's going to be like the Jetsons, that you're just going to walk up with a briefcase and throw the briefcase on the ground, and it's just going to expand open, and there's going to be a whole farm right there. With 3D printing, we will get there one day. But and that's what we're always dreaming of, and I do want to tease the public and let them know. I mean, there are some really amazing, fantastic technologies that we could implement over the next 10 and 20 years into these growing systems that could really take us into the space age of farming and ease of farming and sustainability, and really just have a whole new future. So it's super exciting.
The towers are really, really cool, and I can't wait to get the grow walls, which are going to initially be add-ons to the towers, and then we have additional add-ons that we want to play with like microgreen wings and different ways to expand. But I think they're going to become a central appliance. Every house has a refrigerator. Well, in the future, if things stay on the trajectory that they're on, if these basic instructions before leaving Earth maintain the way they're going here, then everyone's going to need an appliance of some sort that makes food, not just stores it. And for those that have farms, like we spoke about previously, everyone, if you have land, you should have a victory garden. If you have real land, you should have a garden. And if you can help your community, you should be doing that. Everybody should move in that direction. I know we're doing it here. We got our garden going. We helped our neighbor get his garden up and going last year. So, if you have the ability to grow food, you should be doing that. If you have the ability to help people grow food, you should be doing that. If you live in the city, Eden Grow Systems is coming to help you. We are going to come and give you the capability where you can grow your food and you don't have to be part of this system that is trying to control you. You can still have your food and energy independence. And with that, I know we got a few people online, so probably want to give it a few moments here. Does anybody have any Q&A? Do you guys have some questions? We'll get better at this as we go.
Well, I will say They Live is one of the greatest movies of all time. Definitely.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you saw that one.
Yeah, with Roddy Piper. Like, oh my gosh, that's a classic.
I was thinking while we're talking here, we're waiting for Q&A. I'm guessing we're probably not going to get anything. No one's loaded anything up here. But remember Days of Thunder with Robert Duvall and Tom Cruise?
Oh, yeah, the race movie?
Yeah. So there's this scene in it where Tom Cruise is the driver, Formula One driver.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just, he loves to drive fast. And Robert Duvall is the pit boss. And he's like, listen here, son, tires win races. Tires. And you got to finish on tires. And so him and Tom Cruise are like bunting heads. And he's saying, that kid needs to slow down because he keeps burning up all the tires. So, and then the owner of the team's like, if you can't talk to this kid, you're never going to be able to work with him. Anyway, long story short, this whole thing is like 10 minutes. I'm shortening it down here. He proposes a test. You do 100 laps your way. Then you do 100 laps my way, and you give me a fair run, and I'll beat you every time. And his way was slower, but by going slower, he actually ended up going faster. And that has been a key thing that I've actually learned in product development is slower is actually faster. The faster
well, and that's why a lot of that's why a lot of startups don't make it. That's why a lot of startups don't make it, and that's why a lot of we've met brilliant farmers and inventors and engineers over the last couple of years, and they don't know how to get their products to market. And unless you have $1 million or $2 million backing, scaling a company is a ballet in and of itself. And I tell our investors all the time that it really is the balance that I feel that you bring to the table, and then some of our finance people and their backgrounds with MBAs, and it's being able to bring both of those together that we're actually able to create a company that slowly grows over time and doesn't require millions of dollars to become a $1 billion company.
Yeah.
I see a question in the like, can you please give a status update on the grow priorities, especially potatoes?
Profiles.
Yeah. Profiles. So I think what we chose this time is we made a list of the plants that are the most affected and affected by pollution and fertilizer pollution. Like
Yeah,
the
common, just
plants
to
that
jump in, they were common plants that everybody buys at the grocery store that organic are really expensive and they're the most impacted by pesticides and herbicides. The dirty
exactly.
dozen, I think, is what they were called.
And as you know, one of the things at the top of the list I just always remember is strawberries. Right now we handed over that list to our professors at A&M. They're going to be getting their first set of towers in August, and they are going to be helping us develop the specific grow profiles for this each specific plant. And the two top that I have personally been pushing that I believe are some of the most important that I think so far are some of the ones that we will be pursuing are strawberries and potatoes. Because I really feel like the day that we can show the tower, one deck growing strawberries, the other deck growing potatoes, will be a pretty significant leap for the company. As we've constantly are studying all of the other grow companies that are out there and commercial products that are available and technologies that are available, because we're always trying to figure out, how do we continue to be at the cutting edge and the best supplying in these technologies. We don't see other companies being able to offer that with surety. Okay, they say that they can do it. Some of them say they can do strawberries, but you go read their Amazon reviews, and it's just not there. And everyone that we meet in the real world that utilizes them says that they're not able to do it. So, our goal is to make a turnkey system that is super simple, super efficient, but will deliver easily growing those all plants. But the ones again that I'm the most interested in, that I want to get the pictures out and show that we can do it, because I feel big are strawberries and potatoes. So those are some of the major ones I'm pushing. And Jeff, I think you had come up if there's any other that you want to mention or things that we've already done, like this picture you're pulling up.
Yeah, we're not going to be repeating stuff that we've already done, so I did want to just show people on here. Let me get it to change. So we've obviously grown. These are real pictures from from what we did on the first grow section. We actually had this question on the Real Martian channel on another video. Somebody, and I think it was an email. I think RJ Aquaponics actually. He asked me to go into more about how things grow. So this is actually a picture of green beans that have just gone wild in the double decker actually that we had that is now down in Houston. And then we had just another picture there. This is actually a cucumber. There's a few cucumbers that we had. Like this plant took over the tall deck and it was just ginormous. Here's a picture of it going nuts, just totally bonkers. And then you have Swiss chard and kale. We've done those. Swiss chard and kale are just, we nailed those and did some chives and green onions, and those did great. Here's the kale, just really luscious, really strong, really, it wasn't brittle, it wasn't,
Oh, the arugula, Jeff, the arugula that I grew in the test tower that I had down here. I mean, it converted me to arugula. Like I kind of liked arugula, but after like sampling it out of fresh grown tower, I mean, I was just like my kids were like, "Daddy, stop
stop eating it
trimming,
all.
stop trimming the arugula. There's not going to
That's
be
funny.
any left." But I mean, it was delicious. It was so pungent, so strong, and so
Yeah,
pungent. It was
flavor.
almost, I mean, it was peppery almost. I mean, it was amazing the depth of flavor on it.
Yeah,
So I'm
this,
sorry to interrupt, but
no,
yeah, I
it's
mean, it's
okay.
not
I
just that
mean,
it looks beautiful. It's not just that it looks beautiful and it grows fast and it's effortless. It tastes great and it tastes amazing.
yeah, this is corn. We grew corn in the middle of winter last year, and it did pollinate. We had to add fans, which is now a key component of the system design. But we actually grew corn, and it did fruit. Actually, we had little corn cobs. Carrots, we've grown carrots, and they do grow in the system just like we intended. There's the corn right there. It got a lot taller. Um, and then there's single deck, double deck. You can see, look at the double deck back there in the background. It's just like gone completely crazy. We didn't have enough time to trim, but you can easily see that with the way that we can grow stuff, you could be taking stuff off these towers just constantly. Never never should you be without salad at all, given the ability of these towers to produce. Just some
But
really,
not just salad, not just salad, all the heavy stuff. That's
oh
what
yeah,
really gets me excited is, is the salad's great, the herbs are great, but corn, potatoes, tomatoes, cucumbers. I mean, that's really where the rubber hits the road. So I think we got some more questions. What it's
yeah.
easier for you to read them, I think, Jeff.
Yeah, no
What's the
problem.
next one?
So, oh, to finish the thing, the profile. So all this lessons learned is going into our app. So then when customers get it, they'll have all the grow profiles if that's what the question was. So we've got that part going as well. Next question. What other platforms are you live on right now? So let's see here. eatandgrowsystems.com is a place where we want everybody to go. That's our website, and you guys can sign up for the early adopter program. Let's see, we're also on Twitter at Eat and Grow Systems, Instagram at Eat and Grow Systems, Facebook at Eat and Grow Systems, LinkedIn at Eat and Grow Systems.
And if people want specific videos on the towers, the Real Martian channel, like if you just go back for the last 10 videos, it's all videos, because I see MDs in here asking about that. All of those videos are showcasing Jeff putting together the tower, different iterations of the tower. So you can find all kinds of videos of the tower itself. And like Jeff said, you can also go to the Eat and Grow Systems YouTube, and we have 2 videos on there that very succinctly like explain the company and the towers. But I mean, there's just a plethora of tower videos if you go back on the Real Martian right now.
Yeah, I'm pulling this up here for everybody to see that on the Real Martian homepage, we actually have it broken up into playlists. I don't know if anyone uses those, but I encourage everyone to do it. And one of them is right here, the indoor aeroponic grow tower, and it's sorted from newest to oldest. So if you open it up, you could actually sort it from oldest to newest, and you just start at the back and watch them. In fact, if you guys want to help us out, that's a great way you can help us out is just by watching videos, just letting them go over and over. It's a very helpful thing for us. Of course, you're learning as you watch them, not because you just set them up to run, because we'd hate to make YouTube upset at us, but it is helpful when people watch videos. So yeah, you can go on there and
Well,
check that out.
and like we gotta, Jeff, you and I gotta get better at this. Smash that like button
Yeah, that's
right
right.
now.
Destroy the like button so that
Yeah,
we can afford to
smash the
buy
like
more
button.
seeds.
Yeah. Smash the like button, give us a like, give us a subscribe. One of the coolest things you can do is to share our videos with other people.
Absolutely.
Help us spread the message, because this is all we're trying to do.
Let's see here. Next question. Are you going to do a week or some odd days locked in the grow room like you were going to do in the Hab one? Also, what's happening to the trailer you had delivered and cut and weld parts on? Okay, great question. So I think I got this one. We called that the Real Martian Challenge, and it was going to be living in the Hab for like a week, I think is what I said, because I was working full time. And then just living off the towers, or I'm sorry, living off the Hab, which was a lot bigger. So, but I like the idea of doing a Real Martian Challenge with the towers. Once we get 4 of them, one person needs 4 towers for a full diet, and then we're gonna have to get the plants in there that actually, create enough meals to, have a full diet, which they can do. I like that idea. I think it's a great idea. QA, I know you've been with us for a long time. Really appreciate the support and your memory. So I think Bart, that's something you can put me through the pain of here in the future. Actually, it's not going to be painful. It's going to be amazing. We're going to have these just fantastic meals that are going to come off of this. So, what happens to the trailer? The trailer's still sitting out there. We whacked on it. We actually got one door installed. COVID hit, and then we've been on grow towers ever since. So and software, actually, lots of software work, making it so all the towers work just like they're supposed to. So we will get back to LifePod 2. Still have a lot of metal out there that needs to be cut and put in place and seal it all up. But right now it's doing really good at holding cardboard for us because we're going to be doing some garden expansion and we're saving up cardboard. So good question.
All right. Well, Jeff, I think that might be a good place to stop. I think I don't know if there's any other questions. It just looks like those are comments, and we've gone a little bit over what we had planned on. Like we said, there's no set format to this. Generally, we're going to go 30 minutes, but today we had great questions, and Who knows? It might always end up being a 45-minute or hour-long show. But and we can't thank you guys enough for joining us. From if one thing gardening teaches you, it's from small things, great things come. And so it's really exciting to have, even this conversation with us. So we're honored to have you here, and we're going to be back next week, and we're going to have more updates on what we're doing. The journey's just more interesting and fascinating. We really have a good chance at this NASA Deep Space Food Challenge, and there's 20 or 30 other things that we're not even talking about right now because they're not ready to be talked about. But they're really exciting, and we're honored to have all of you here with us.
Yeah, we thank everyone for joining us. Do definitely smash that like button, hit subscribe, ring that bell, get notified. You guys know the deal. We're going to try to do this every week, so tune in next week at the same time. We'll see you then. We also have some more videos coming up that Alicia's editing right now. So thank you, Bart, for being here today. Thank you for joining us to everybody on the live stream. And this is The Real